Welcome to Pharmaste NAPLEX Preparation Coach. Before we begin, I want you to take a slow breath in and gently breathe out. Really consciously relax your shoulders. Look, drug dose conversions can look totally overwhelming because there are just so many tables and numbers to keep straight. But today, we are going to slow down and organize all of it into predictable patterns. You don't need to memorize everything at once. You just need a safe, repeatable process. Today, we're going to review the drug dose conversions that constantly pop up in NAPLEX-style pharmacy calculations. We'll focus on exactly how to identify the current dose, convert it to the equivalent dose, adjust it when needed for safety, and critically interpret the final regimen. Here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We're going to cover 5 key areas: essential IV to PO conversions, supplements and endocrine, cardiovascular classes, systemic steroids, and finally, mastering opioid conversions. Let's build your framework. Section 1. Essential IV to PO conversions. Let's dive right into those baseline ratios. For a lot of medications, transitioning a patient from an IV to an oral dose is just a simple one-to-one swap. But you know the NAPLEX loves to test the exceptions. First up, metoprolol. This requires an IV to PO ratio of 1 to 2.5. Second, levothyroxine uses a ratio of 0.75 to 1. And third, we have the classic conversion between aminophylline and theophylline. To remember this one, just use the ATM memory trick. Aminophylline to theophylline, multiply by 0.8. If you ever need to go in reverse, theophylline back to aminophylline, you just divide by 0.8. These baseline ratios are going to act as your anchors. Let's put this into practice immediately. Say a patient is receiving 40 milligrams of IV metoprolol daily. What's the equivalent oral or PO dose? I highly encourage you to pause this explainer right now. Use the specific IV to PO ratio we just talked about for metoprolol and calculate the answer yourself before we move on. Okay, let's walk through the math step by step together. Step 1, we identify our baseline ratio. For metoprolol, the IV to PO ratio is 1 to 2.5. This means the oral dose actually needs to be 2.5 times larger than the IV dose due to first-pass metabolism in the liver. Step 2, we translate that ratio directly into multiplication. And step 3, we simply calculate 40 milligrams times 2.5. And that gives us 100 milligrams of PO metoprolol. Getting the math right is fantastic, but checking your work for clinical reasonableness is absolutely vital on the NAPLEX. Ask yourself, does it make sense that the oral dose is larger than the IV dose? Yes, absolutely. Intravenous medications bypass the digestive system entirely, meaning 100% of the drug enters systemic circulation. Oral drugs lose some potency along the way, so we naturally need a larger starting dose to achieve that exact same clinical effect. All right, moving on to Section 2, supplements and endocrine, focusing specifically on elemental ratios. Dosing in this category is tricky because it often relies on elemental percentages rather than the total salt weight. For instance, calcium carbonate is 40% elemental calcium, while calcium citrate is only 21%. Ferrous sulfate is exactly 20% elemental iron, so a standard 325 milligram tablet of ferrous sulfate only delivers 65 milligrams of actual usable iron to the patient. Finally, pay close attention to lithium. 5 milliliters of the syrup equals 300 milligrams of lithium carbonate, which equals exactly 8 milliequivalents of the lithium ion. You really must have these elemental breakdowns committed to memory. Now let's look at endocrinology. Insulin conversions are usually a very simple one-to-one switch. But again, the NAPLEX zeroes in on the safety exceptions. If you're transitioning a patient from a twice-daily NPH insulin to a once-daily glargine, or if you're switching them from 2GO to glargine or detamir, you absolutely must reduce the dose. You use 80% of the original dose. This 20% dose reduction isn't just a suggestion. It's a hard clinical safety rule designed specifically to prevent life-threatening hypoglycemia during the transition. Section 3. Cardiovascular classes and therapeutic equivalence. When you're switching a patient between statins during a hospital transition, these standard doses all provide roughly the exact same cholesterol-lowering power. Notice how the required milligrams increase as you move from your high-intensity statins down toward the lower-intensity ones. Pitavastatin requires only 2 milligrams, rosuvastatin is 5, atorvastatin 10, simvastatin 20, lovastatin and pravastatin sit at 40, all the way up to fluvastatin at 80 milligrams. You can set up a simple cross-multiplication ratio using any 2 of these standard doses to find the equivalent dose for your specific patient. Now here is a massive NAPLEX trap regarding loop diuretics. For almost all drugs in this class, going from an IV to an oral dose is a super simple one-to-one conversion. But furosemide is the big exception. Furosemide's oral bioavailability is only about 50%. Therefore, its IV to PO ratio is 1 to 2. You literally need twice as much oral furosemide to equal the IV dose. And here are the baseline equivalent doses for loop diuretics across the entire class. Efacranic acid, 50 milligrams, equals furosemide, 40 milligrams, which equals torsemide, 20 milligrams, which equals bumetanide, 1 milligram. This exact conversion relationship is highly tested during heart failure transitions of care. If your patient's swelling is resolving and they are finally ready to go home, you need to know exactly how to transition them from a potent IV drip to a safe, effective oral maintenance dose.
Section 4. Systemic steroids and their relative potencies.
This hierarchy moves from the less potent, short-acting agents at the top down to the highly potent, long-acting agents at the bottom. Cortisone 25 and hydrocortisone 20 are your short-acting baseline. Then we hit the intermediate group: prednisone 5, prednisolone 5, methylprednisolone 4, and triamcinolone 4. Finally, the long-acting powerhouses: dexamethasone 0.75 and betamethasone 0.6. Memorize these numbers for sure. They are the exact denominators you'll use in your cross-multiplication. Time for another practice check. A patient is currently taking dexamethasone 6 milligrams PO daily. The medical team wants to transition them to an equivalent daily dose of oral prednisone. Go ahead and pause this explainer right now, set up your ratio using the table values we just reviewed, and solve for the equivalent dose. Let's confirm your math. We know from our baseline table that 0.75 milligrams of dexamethasone is equivalent to 5 milligrams of prednisone. So we divide the patient's current dose of 6 milligrams by our dexamethasone base of 0.75, which gives us a factor of 8. We then multiply that 8 by our prednisone base of 5 milligrams. That makes 6 milligrams of dexamethasone clinically equivalent to 40 milligrams of prednisone.
Section 5. This is the big one: mastering opioid dose conversions.
Listen, this isn't just an exercise in math. It is a strict, multi-step safety algorithm. Errors here are severely penalized on the NAPLEX because in the real world, opioid miscalculations can be completely fatal. First, we must review the core opioid equivalencies, looking at the IV to PO ratios. Morphine is 10 IV to 30 PO. Hydromorphone is 1.5 IV to 7.5 PO. Oxycodone is 20 PO, and hydrocodone is 30 PO. These exact numbers act as the foundational anchors for your cross-multiplication. Never, ever try to guess these ratios. You absolutely must have them committed to memory before test day. Here is the gold standard 5-step process for opioid conversions. Step 1, calculate the total 24-hour baseline dose of the current drug. Step 2, set up your ratio and cross-multiply to find the 24-hour dose of the new drug. Step 3, reduce that new calculated dose by 25% to account for cross-tolerance. Step 4, divide the total into the appropriate dosing interval, like every 8 or 12 hours. And Step 5, always provide a breakthrough pain dose, which is typically 10 to 15% of the total daily baseline dose. And remember, throughout this entire process, we always round down to prioritize patient safety.
I want to pause here for a second to highlight the clinical why behind the math. What exactly is cross-tolerance? Well, it means that even if a patient is highly tolerant to their current opioid, that tolerance is incomplete when you switch them to a brand new opioid molecule. If you give them a mathematically 100% equivalent dose of the new drug, it might hit their receptors way too hard and actually stop their breathing. Therefore, we necessitate an empiric dose reduction, usually 25%, to prevent respiratory depression. The NAPLEX tests this specific reduction heavily. Let's lock this in with a comprehensive practice case. A patient on 30 milligrams of IV hydromorphone per day is switching to PO morphine. We need to reduce the calculated dose by 25% for cross-tolerance. What is the final, safe, total daily PO morphine dose? Pause the explainer right here. Use the 1.5 to 30 ratio we talked about, cross-multiply for your 24-hour total, and then apply that crucial 25% safety reduction.
Let's see how you did. Step 1, we set up the ratio. 30 milligrams of PO morphine over 1.5 milligrams of IV hydromorphone equals X over the patient's current 30 milligrams of IV hydromorphone. Solving for X, the pure math yields 600 milligrams of PO morphine. But we definitely do not stop there. Step 2, we reduce that dose by 25% for cross-tolerance. So we multiply 600 milligrams, 0.75. This brings our final, safe daily dose down to 450 milligrams per day of palmorphine. Congratulations on mastering these conversions. By relying on these structured ratios, you now have a safe, completely repeatable process. I want you to practice these 5 patterns on a blank sheet of paper daily. When you understand the clinical why, NAPLEX calculations really do start becoming easy points. But what happens when your patient's kidneys begin to fail and all these standard conversion rules go right out the window? We'll tackle renal dose adjustments in our next lesson. Keep up the excellent work.